Hey guys, welcome back. It's Claytano. Thank you so much for tuning in as always. And you can just ignore the Christmas tree behind me. I know it's January 12th, but I haven't got around to taking it down. I apologize. Now, this is the top 5 water natural 5-star monsters for real-time arena and why. So to start off here at number 5, we have Camilla. Okay, this is the water Valkyria, of course. You might be a little surprised how far down the list she is, but there's actually a lot more useful monsters in the water natural 5-star monster range for RTA. But what makes Camilla great is that, of course, RTA is really focused on stun locking as much as possible, attack bar reducing, things like that. And Camilla's passive skill right here actually helps her not get stun locked. Of course, it's not a immunity to being stun locked, but it does help. So if she ever gets crit, if she ever gets anything like that, it removes any stun, it removes any freeze, anything like that, of course, will get removed off of Camilla if there's a crit, and a lot of times people are going to crit. Also, now her second skill does damage based on max HP, of course, and first skill just activates the second skill if she dies, but really it's just the tanky damage bruising monster that makes her so great. Okay, moving on though to number 4, we have Molong, which is the water panda. What makes Molong so great, I'll go over it here. First off, he has a defense break on turn 1, or skill 1. He has a AoE buff removing skill on turn 2, which also stuns the entire team, which is great because anytime you're in RTA, you're most likely going to come across a Woosa or Verad, Beta, anything like that, and you can just completely remove all the immunity, even Delphoid. You'll come across that a lot. So having a Molong on the team is great because you have that CC, you have that buff remove, but you also are going to have a really hard-hitting skill that can really just take a huge chunk out of other monsters, because this Reckless Assault launches a reckless attack that damages the enemy by 70% of its HP at the cost of receiving the same amount of damage. The damage can't exceed your current HP, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so you're basically just eating somebody's HP. Okay, now this is really, really nice to have because if you're, you don't even need to bring a damage aside from Molong. Of course, you want to have at least 2 damages because if one of them gets banned out, you'll still have Molong at least that can, eat monsters as he goes along and still be tanky enough to take some hits along the way as well. Okay, so really good monster for RTA. Anybody who has one, he should be used extremely often. Third on the list, we just talked about him here. It is Woosa. And yeah, he did get a little bit of a buff, I would say. It's nice to have a little heal off Woosa now, but really what makes him great is, of course, his base speed is 118, his HP is really nice, but the shield and the immunity that he creates with a 3 turns on it is amazing. So anytime there's a shield monster, defense boosting, immunity, anything like that is really actually very useful in RTA. That's why you see a lot of Emmas and the Wind Lisa, I don't even know her name, but that's why you see a lot of them in Arena, because they do just that. Now also, like I said, he has a little bit of a heal just in case you need it if you're planning to spend a long time in the battle, so that works out as well. It does damage proportionate to your max HP, so it does a little less damage over time. The more you go into it, the less damage you're going to do, but at least it's a little extra heal to have. And then of course your first attack deals damage based on your max HP, so you can build him HP based, but he's still really good just for that immunity and the shield. That's why he's in this top list. Now, moving on to number 2, I have definitely talked shit about this monster in the past. I actually made a top 10 worst natural 5-star monsters in the game, and this monster was on the list. But good news is she's making a comeback. They gave her a little buff, and I think she's going to be, well, I know she's actually a huge factor in real-time arena. If you guys haven't fought one just yet, it is a Anavel, the water occult girl. What makes her so great is, again, RTA is a game of skill cooldowns lockdowns, stuns, freezes, attack bar reduced, attack bar buffs, things like that. And anytime you have a monster that can cleanse all of that with a really low skill cooldown, it's so useful. And then not only is it a nice to have this, but also you're healing up your monsters based on your attack power, which increases over the time of the battle, of course, but you also have a defense break built in as well, just in case you happen to need a defense break, which you pretty much are always going to need. This is perfect for that situation. And then also her first skill grants her another turn if it happens to sleep. So if you happen to put a monster to sleep, you gain another turn. You can put another monster to sleep, you can put another monster to sleep, gain another turn, and then every single time you gain another turn, you're making this skill more ready, of course. But the fact that it's always up almost, it makes it super hard to take down. If you're gonna fight an Anavel, you wanna try to kill it first, but if it's built tanky and well enough, you're gonna have a hard time killing it first, and it's just gonna tear you up. So that's why Anavel is number 2 on the list. And it's no surprise, I don't think, to anybody that's watching this video, but number 1 is Verad. I'm lucky enough to have him. I probably wouldn't have been able to get 1500 or more without Verad, so you know, he was super key in my success in RTA, and if you guys have him as well, you should definitely use him. You should first pick Verad every single time, no matter what, if you have him. Now, the only time that you would not bring a Verad if you have a Hathor or a Ganymede that you want to build together. The reason why is because if you have a Hathor and you pair it with a Verad and the other team lets both of them through, the chances are your Hathor is going to go, it's going to sleep, and your Verad's just going to be useless because he's not going to be able to use any of his skills because they're all going to be asleep anyway, and it's going to kind of counteract each other. So you really just want to pick one or the other. That's really the only reason that you wouldn't pick him first. So Verad, though, amazing monster, does lots of damage, even built speed, defense, HP, or speed, HP with a lot of defense subs. The way I built mine, just real quick if you guys want to take a look, is speed, HP. I built him as fast as I possibly could on Violent. It's on Violent Nemesis with some defense subs as well. Of course, I can get a little bit more on that rune with defense, HP, and speed, but he did his job for RTA and got me where I needed to be. And have some accuracy on him. Don't forget the accuracy. So speed, HP, defense, and accuracy are the main subsets that you want to look for on your Verads. But really, just to kind of go over his skills, what makes him so just dominant is that he has low skill cooldowns, and then also the fact that he reduces the attack bar to 0, but then freezes them as well. So not only does it basically reset all their turns so that way they have to come all the way back up again, so basically like you're getting 2 turns off them with your skill. So you're reducing their attack bar, you're freezing them, and then you're coming back to life. Okay, so now what I liked to do that gave me more options or more CC was I used my first skill here, or my second skill I should say, first. So this attacks all enemies with a storm of ice, dealing damage proportionate to your defense and freezing them for 1 turn. The reason why is because if they outspeed your team, their attack bars are pretty much gonna already be low. Now if you outspeed their team, of course you want to use your third skill first, but if their attack bars are low, you use your second skill and you freeze them. Once they come out of the freeze, they gain their attack bar, they come out of the freeze, then they're starting to build their attack bar back up, then you use absolute 0, put them back down. The great news is this has a little bit lower cooldown, so you have this coming right back up, and then you stun lock that way. 1, 2, 1, 2, going back and forth with a couple violent procs here and there. You'll almost never lose a turn, and you can single-handedly take Verad and turn the entire match around. That's what makes him so great. Alright guys, but aside from that, I hope you all enjoyed the top 5 water monsters list for RTA. If you did, leave a like, comment, and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. As always though, stay soupy, don't be potatoes, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.